welcome back to the Nasty Metal Projector channel here at YouTube. So, since Airbourne are going to be releasing their newest album, Boneshaker, on October 25th, I thought I might as well do some discography reviews. So, of course, that means I'll also do a re-review of Breaking Out of Hell. But before I get to that, I might as well start with the very beginning for Airbourne here, which of course is actually Ready to Rock. Now, of course, for those who have probably first heard about Airbourne, was probably with their smash hit album Runnin' Wild, which was actually their official debut album, released on, depending on where you were from. Being in Australia would have been Capitol Records, but here everywhere else it was on Roadrunner. However, if you were definitely going to pubs or even like small venues or so in like the earlier mid 2000s, especially within that part, especially 2004, you would definitely know that Airbourne actually released technically it's considered, this is considered an EP, but it's pretty much around, 35 minutes long, almost I would say exceeding the length of what an EP is. They released something called Ready to Rock, which is an 8-track release, containing at least, 3 songs that would actually get re-recorded for the deluxe edition of Runnin' Wild, and 1 song that would get revived for Black Dog Barking. So this was their very first release, was Ready to Rock, and by the time I found out about this band, they had already had out Runnin' Wild and this. So, of course, they won again. The very polished and really clean sounding stuff of Runnin' Wild is definitely what everyone would definitely recognize, but if you listen to this very first release from Airbourne, this is a lot more raw, almost rougher, almost very much, even though it's still very good produced, especially for the quality that this is. This was very much a independent released, and technically I would say it is an independent release. I wouldn't say self-released, but it definitely had some backing by very small distributors. So let's look at the distributors here. One being Sick Kitty Productions. This has actually seemed, according to Discography, this is the only thing released through Sick Kitty Productions, and of course distributed by Fieldman Australia, which of course is probably best known for distributing a few of, Mammoth, another Australian band, though more on the stoner rock side. But that's one of the only things that was released under these publishers and distributors, and it was released 1,000 copies, and it basically goes for, of course these days an original goes for about almost $400 bucks, so it's definitely really off the charts. And this is the only thing I don't own from Airbourne, but just again, I've only got into at least some of the distributings and everything on it, and not so much the music. Musically, again, this is very more kind of on the raw side, and Joel O'Keefe's vocals isn't nearly as really on that high register that he's been using since Runnin' Wild to, of course, Breaking Out of Hell, and of course the most upcoming album. He's definitely a little more lower, almost in a little grittier, a little meaner sounding. But it's still him. It's definitely still him, and it definitely fits the attitude of this. This was a great introduction for those who will end up later on getting a taste of what they definitely want to be becoming. Again, listening to original versions such as Ready to Rock, Stand and Deliver, Come On Down, Runnin' Hot, and of course Hotter Than Hell, and of course Dirty Angel. These are all pretty just rough, down and dirty rock and roll numbers. You definitely can hear the influence from bands like Rose Tattoo and AC/DC, and of course songs like Ready to Rock, and of course Come On Down definitely sound like Bon Scott era AC/DC numbers. Hell, you almost can say this is pretty much their High Voltage, technically referring to the original Australian version of High Voltage, but I would say you don't in a way, you get the idea of what Airbourne were actually doing on this release. You knew what they were going to do later on, but it's just a little more raw, a little more unhinged in places, and the best ways possible. Just real down and dirty, gritty, just hard rock and roll. That's pretty much just its sole idea is to pretty much get the listener and pretty much the whole entire rock and roll fans to get up and just move and dance. I wouldn't say dance, but just get them moving, headbanging, and so on, and get them fist pumping. That's kind of what you get with this release, and it's just a great introduction to Airbourne. But again, don't want it to take away from the later releases, which I'll definitely get to, but it's just a great way to introduce at least a smaller audience to what, to get them to at least understand what they're going to be able to do, and what Airbourne was really going to be able to unleash upon the world. Still, I wouldn't say Airbourne are nearly as big as Metallica, but they definitely, these days, are definitely a pretty big band. But here, you just can hear a very hungry, ready to kick the ass of the entire world with this release. It's just that damn prominent here. Just very, very good stuff here. I don't know, you probably can hear it a little in the background. Anyways, still, just a solid release from Airbourne, and just a great introduction to a band that definitely showed a lot of promise. And I still think they got a lot of promise. I think they still are one of the best mainstream rock, or at least one of the best rock bands in modern times. So, with that, again, don't expect to go to find this for easy prices. Like I said very early in this video, this goes for about insane amounts of money. Again, I love Airbourne, but I don't for $100 love Airbourne. It's just not that worth it. Unless I come across, the only way to actually get this if it's in, counterfeit or bootleg form is the only way if you want to actually own a physical copy of it. But again, it won't be official. But still, hopefully at some point later on, the band actually does officially reissues this on CD or on record or any physical format. I know, again, we've seen reissues for the past past 3 releases actually. Though also some unreleased material. We saw some of that. I know maybe even at some point they may even also go and find some really older recordings that predates this release. I know there was actually 2 songs that were recorded for some, Australian rock compilation. I forgot the name of the tracks, but they're very, very obscure, and that release apparently went for also some insane amounts. I know at some point there also could be a recording of the rather infamous song called Get On Your Bikes, which was only played in the clubs. So who knows what will come of some of these, but still, it's a great release. You can find it on YouTube to listen to. It's a great release. Just, again, pretty much giving the idea of what the band pretty much lives up to. Just no bullshit, no ballads, just straight up kick your ass hard rock and roll. So with that, I hope you all enjoyed, and so definitely I hope you look forward to some of these other Airbourne reviews here, at least the upcoming forthcoming album Boneshaker. So with that, hope you all enjoyed. Take care, everyone. It's now time to get on to the next Airbourne release. Take care.